So you can bear to sit there for an hour.
Ventnor and District Local Society presents.
It's £8.95.
I'll think about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ventnor is surely one of the most attractive of resorts. From off this spectacular coast we can appreciate to the full its wonderful setting. As Charles Dickens once wrote, the views from the top of the Downs are only equalled on the Genoese shore of the Mediterranean. Maybe a little exaggerated, so perhaps something a touch more lyrical would suit. Ventnor is like nowhere else, with a touch of fairyland. And looking downhill you see a little town, terraced, with here and there fuchsia trees and palm trees. And beyond all that a blue sea that is generally blue, because Ventnor faces south. This was from the pen of H. de Vere Stacford, who lived at Bonchurch. This majestic and unique Undercliff coastline extends for 7 miles from Luckham in the east to St Catherine's Point and Blackgang in the west. Unfortunately, since Ventnor lost its pier and in the 1960s its steamer service, the magic of this coastline was lost to many, although boat trips from our new haven have restarted recently. To all seaside resorts, climate is all important, and Ventnor is no different, except that in its safe-facing position, protected from the north by the high cliffs and the tree-clad Down, the highest point on the Isle of Wight, Ventnor really does succeed in being able to enjoy the sun and sea to the full. No wonder the botanic gardens thrive, with many delicate and rare plants and trees able to survive the winter. So we know about Ventnor in the summer, but what is it like when the very occasional snow falls? Later in this film, we will show you. In this DVD, we are going back through time to look at some early prints to celebrate the beginnings of this unusual and friendly town. We will explore, with the help of the photographic collection from the archives of the Ventnor Heritage Museum, the halcyon days of the Victorian and Edwardian eras, the 1920s and 1930s, progressing through to more recent views from the 1970s. We are going to travel from east to west along the Undercliff, but also will include the charms of the nearby villages of Knighton, Whitwell and Wroxall. So sit back and journey with us as we explore Ventnor and the Undercliff in times past.
The pier's gone.
We start our Undercliff journey at Luckham. Prior to 1910, the fishermen lived in the cottages on the beach seen here. This was a frugal way of life, but up in the landslip a short distance away, visitors availed themselves of refreshments from the tea tent. Up on the common, the chickens are fed by the farmer's wife at Luckham Farm. This old print, dated 1845, shows the valley of Bonchurch. The much admired St Boniface House, seen here in an early print of 1831. Along the village street, at one time called Shepherd's Lane, the old cottages look suitably idyllic. The snow scene, probably from 1881. Flooding from the overflowing pond, 1904. Bonchurch was home to many fine properties. Westfield, shown here, one of the largest, was reputedly built for Queen Adelaide. considerable staff were required, and here we witness the gardeners off to their daily toil in 1910. Charles Dickens stayed at Winterbourne in 1849. Across the road at East Dean was the poet Algernon Swinburne's family home. He is buried in the churchyard up the hill. Later, at Cliff Dean, the author H. de Vere Stackpole lived for many years. Elegant ladies promenade by the pond. Possibly they were staying at the well-known Bonchurch Hotel. Ventnor in the early days, with just a few cottages on the shore. In the distance, Undercliff House, today the Spyglass Inn. Ventnor had a mill, and the waterfall at the Cascade Gardens was the mill stream. The mill suffered a serious fire in 1848. The thatched beach cottage was demolished in 1876 to be replaced by the Queen's Hotel, later renamed the Metropole. In the distance, Ventnor Harbour of 1862. Short-lived and poorly constructed, it was destroyed by gales within 3 years. The gentleman enjoying the view in 1877 is probably observing the construction of the pier. This pier took 10 years to complete, but after only a few months it was wrecked in a severe gale in November 1881. St Augustine's Villa, built in the 1840s. This view before the Cascade Gardens were created in 1903. Ventnor Beach in 1914. Boat trips around the bay, courtesy of Spencer's boat from the 1930s. Steamer excursions from the pier were popular for many years. Here, the Lorna Doone is ready to depart in 1938. Ventnor Vicarage, prominently situated on the cliff. Today, the site is occupied by the Winter Gardens. This print shows the Royal Hotel soon after opening in 1832. It was called Fisher's Hotel and Ventnor Hotel in its early days. The Royal's competitor for accolade as the town's finest was the Royal Marine just along Belgrave Road. Inside, we can see the well-furnished and comfortable surroundings expected by its Victorian high society guests. These views of Park Avenue show the superior gentlemen's residences built